In a world where everyone has their own YouTube channel and podcast, this guy had a YouTube channel but no podcast. Now, here's the guy with zero original ideas.
Once again, something wonderful in my life has been turned into a giant crap fest.
It's Shawn Cash and the Shawn Cash Podcast.
I am not one of your fans!
Hello, and yes, I am doing another PodCash. As you've noticed, my voice is a little shot. I have some sort of a cold, and I've kind of lost my voice. Yeah, I'm also wearing one of my new Try to Finish Something shirts. What do you think? I'm going to do today's podcast a little different. I do have a bunch of questions that I want to get to that came to me from my Patreon users. My voice cracked there. That's lovely. But what I'm going to do today, I don't want to interfere on what Garland's workshop does, which is he goes on greebly hunts and then builds things with those greeblies. Today, I'm going to answer some questions, and I'm going to go off, I'm sure, on some tangents about that stuff. But I've got a couple things that I need to do. One of them is I was talking about this DVD VCR player that I picked up at the junkyard, and I want to harvest the greeblies from this. This is going to be painful for me. As somebody who did radio, to hear my voice crack and squeak and stuff is going to drive me crazy, and hopefully it won't drive you crazy. But I'm going to harvest the greeblies from this, and I'm going to answer questions at the same time. So I'm calling this PodCash Tinkering and Tangents. All right. So I'm going to start dismantling this and find any screws that are available and start taking this apart and try and see if I can answer some of these questions on this piece of paper that I got from my Patreon users. All right. So I know you said you really did care about your channel and videos. Well, I have my own YouTube channel and get really down when I have a video that doesn't do well. Do you go through that too? Yeah, so a perfectly timed question. So yes, I do that as well. I am somebody that gets excited about specific videos, and I wind up thinking, and I don't know why, I have nothing to base this on, but I wind up thinking specific videos are going to do well, and when they don't, I'm disappointed. And I can give you some examples of that. So when I painted the Raven on the front of the custom helmet that I just completed for a client, the video did really well. And I had kind of asked if people wanted me to do a video doing the greeblies and stuff on that same helmet. And I got a really good response. Everybody wanted to see that. So I did it. And that's kind of the hard thing for me. So I never know how many parts to do a video and what the YouTube audience, what you are willing to put up with, and how many parts of a video you're willing to watch. And so, and I've talked to other YouTubers about that as well, and it's a hard balance, because how many times can you watch a video about the same thing? And I don't know what the answer is to that. And what I do know is the video that I did, look, I got a free DVD or CD. Ooh, I wonder what's on that. I never know how many videos you can do on something. And I know part of it is just you're tired of seeing videos on the same thing. But I actually thought that the completion of that helmet would do better than it did. I can give more examples. I thought that the Baby Yoda Frozen in Carbonite challenge that I did with Kelly Stern, I thought that video would do better, and it didn't. And I was a little disappointed with that, because I was really happy with the way that one came out. Oh, there's that piece. I was really happy with the way that one came out, and I was disappointed it didn't do better. But in the end, I know I've said this before, but I am just doing this for fun. I am not doing this as a job. So in the end, it shouldn't matter, but yes, I definitely get disappointed when I have videos that don't perform as well as I hope they will. So you're not alone in that. I do the same thing. Oh, and yes, jobs. So I did get a new job, and it's kind of related to stuff that I know. So I have done radio for 18 years, and I've done every bit of radio. I did morning radio, I've done overnights and afternoons, and I started out working in the promotions department as an intern, and it was one of those things when I was doing radio that it was always sales versus on air. Wow, that's a really cool piece. Can you see that? It was always sales versus on air, because at the time when I did radio, sales always felt that they were the most important part of radio, because without sales, the on-air people didn't get paid. And without the on-air people, sales didn't have anything to sell. So there was always this oil and water not blending together of the two different things that make radio work, and both are just as important. So I never thought that I could be or would be a salesperson. And I'm doing radio sales. So the good news about that is, honestly, there is almost no one that knows anything more about radio. I know radio from every different aspect and every single angle, because I've done it all except sales. But the good news is, what that means for a client is seeing it from all the different angles. I know what's going to work and what's not going to work. So in the end, I should be good at sales, at least for the client. That client should be able to go, oh, I know this guy's not going to do me wrong, because he knows what works and what doesn't. And that aspect of it is true. So I am doing some radio sales. I'm working for a company called Bonneville. Seems like a really good company, and that's what I'm doing. So on with these questions. I know you said we can ask about anything, and I have an odd one for you. I remember this question. So this one gets odd. I know you said we can ask about anything, and I have an odd one for you. My wife and I are big Seinfeld fans. I am as well. We were watching the episode about bad nudity. She is always walking around in her birthday suit. Again, I don't know why this is coming to me. She's always walking around in her birthday suit, and I wanted to know why I wasn't comfortable doing the same thing. We wound up in a big argument about this, and can you give us your tangent on this subject? I'm a guy who's taking apart a VCR, and you're asking me marriage advice because you and your wife are arguing over whether or not you should walk around in your birthday suit. I love this. My tangent on you. So I'm assuming she thinks you should be naked more and you don't feel comfortable with it, is what that boils down to. And I have seen that Seinfeld episode, and I'm going to have to agree with you. I don't want to share too much, but I'm not that dissimilar from what you're suggesting there, because I don't feel as comfortable with that either. I don't even know how to answer this question without saying way too much. I wouldn't be walking around naked in my house either. I have a house full of girls, so it's a little bit different. But I'm completely fine with any time my wife does want to. But I don't plan on doing it anytime soon. So I don't know if that helps you. I'm not even sure why you're asking me. I don't think that helps, but I'm sorry. I agree with you. I don't plan on walking around naked a lot, but I am completely fine with any time that my wife would like to. Oh, I love YouTube. I can't believe it. I watched the last PodCash and I saw you talking about Star Trek Voyager. And I went over to IMDB and you are on there. It lists Star Trek, a few movies, and a video game. That's true. I did do 2 movies. They were both fairly small indie movies. I did one called Assassin. I was a bouncer / hitman named Tony, which was a lot of fun. It was filmed at like 1:30 in the morning, beside some railroad tracks, because they wanted the railroad tracks and all the noise in the background as it was going, and they wanted trains passing. So it was a lot of fun. Very small role. I had a couple lines. The other movie was called Elsa Letterseed, and I was a guy who worked at a fertility clinic. No, I was a guy who was at a fertility clinic, and I was trying to figure out a way to say this without saying too much. I was going to leave my sample, and I was having trouble doing so. And I was waiting for my turn to go into the room, and I was not able to perform because I was nervous. And a nurse walks by that was very attractive in a revealing outfit, and I immediately was able to perform. So that was my role in Elsa Letterseed. Yeah. And then the other thing I did that's on there is I did voices for a video game. The video game was Face Noir, and I was supposed to do 2 characters, Smiley and Azel, and I went in and did all the reads for those 2 characters, and it was one of those, I don't know if you remember like the Legends of Zork, where it was just like a text game. Well, this was like one level up from that, when they used to do the PC games that had very minimal animation and they had the voiceover to help carry that along. And basically, I went in, did the reads for those 2, and then wound up getting some additional voiceover work. I wound up as police officers and a couple other things that were in that same production that I wound up getting while I was there. I think in the end, I was in, I think 4. I think I was 4 different things in there. I have to figure out how to get this apart, so that's the really cool piece that I see Kelly Stern and others using. I'll figure out how to get that the rest of the way apart. I'm not sure. All right. So those are 2 really cool finds that I've got right there. All right. So, yes, I did do some character voices for a video game, and it was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it, and I would do more. It was a lot of fun to do the characters in the game. But so yes, Star Trek, and I was on Star Trek Voyager, and I did get some footage from Jeff, my morning show partner, of me on the show. So for those that haven't seen Star Trek Voyager and seen the episode Prime Factors, here are some clips from the show. And I'm going to show you some stuff out of order just so that it makes sense and you can see the different parts that I'm moving scenery in my one scene. So first is the one scene that I had where I am the bead salesman, and as the head honcho of our traveling oasis that is concerned about nothing but stories and pleasure. He's walking up with Captain Janeway, and here I am offering my beads to the two of them, and he gives me the no, it's not interested. These are things that I've seen before, and I'm not using the audio from the show because I don't want the clips to get pulled down, but that's the scene that I had in the show that was my big scene. And I show you that first, even though that's not the first part that I was in. Now I'll show you just a couple different things where you can see me moving in the background, and anytime you see the guy in pink, that's me. That's me as moving scenery in the background. There I am there, talking with other people in the background. Now, this scene, this is the one that I had mentioned that I actually wound up getting in trouble with the director of photography. This is when Garrett, the Voyager crew member that you see here, is talking with this woman. And I could probably tell a lot of stories about the difficulty of this actress, but I won't. Never mind. I won't say anything about that. So she was a professional and didn't like a lot of the tomfoolery. I'll just say that. So she's here talking with Garrett, and I'm supposed to walk by in the background, and I'm supposed to walk softly. And if you saw the other PodCash, that was not going well. I wasn't walking softly enough for the director of photography and got yelled at, but there I am there. I'll show you again. But I just walked by for a quick second, but in that quick second that I walked by, I was walking way too fast. Yeah, that's the scene from, that was the one that got me in trouble on Star Trek Voyager. So yes, back to these. I am in IMDB, and yeah, I've done a bunch of different things. So there are a lot of control boards in here. I like some of these things, but none of this is really what I was going for. I didn't even know this was in there, but this is lovely. I really enjoy the things you wind up finding. I would like to take this off, and I'm not exactly sure how to separate that, but I know that these two pieces are definitely things that I want, that I've seen Kelly Stern use, and I will get those out. But I've been wanting to get those out of this and to answer some questions. So this is my very first Tinkering and Tangents, and I don't know how it'll do, but thank you very much for watching, everybody. And if you want to get one of my Try to Finish Something New shirts, there are a couple different designs. You can find them on my Try to Finish Something group. If you haven't yet joined my Try to Finish Something Facebook group, join over there, because I've done things like I put up different templates and things that I wanted to give away. It's in the files section of that Facebook group, and anything that I wind up doing on the channel that I can share, I share for free in that Facebook group, so make sure you join there. If you want to become a Patreon member, that would be great. Oh, and so I did put together the Amazon wish list, and I know in the beginning it was messed up because I had people that were reaching out saying, hey, I wanted to buy something for you, but there was no way for me to mail it to you. It just would come back to my address when I tried to purchase something. I did get that fixed, and some people have sent some really cool things, and I want to make sure that I give them proper thanks. But thank you very much. I'm going to try and wrap this up because I think my voice might even be getting worse. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed Tinkering and Tangents, and thanks for watching another PodCash. See you later, everybody.